Earlier this week, we did run down the worst 10 games of 2017, so it's only fair we do the opposite, right? Of course! Now, while many may say this year hasn't been the most exciting 12 months, they're probably right, that doesn't mean some classics haven't come our way throughout this period, or at least some nuggets that have entertained us for a matter of hours. That's what it's all about, right? A distraction, so you forget how shit everything else is. Anyway, I'm Simon Miller, this is TMR, and these are the 10 best games of 2017. Number 10, Resident Evil 7. I hate scary games, straight up. They ruin me as a human being, and if I can avoid playing them, I will. I don't like the terror. However, when such frights are done right, I do think they can be worked into an experience, and Resident Evil 7 got this spot on. Finding a way not to feel too cheap and build a very good game around all the horror, Capcom ticked all the boxes here and made the franchise feel relevant again. I also respect the fact the developers basically went, that PT was good and now it's dead. Let's do that. Hell yeah, let's do that. It was a decent concept, so why not follow up on it? No one else was going to. And taking a recognizable series and tying all that in really was a smart way to make a mark on the year way back in January. Some say that Resi 7 goes a bit off the rails towards the end, but I don't think so. It's a very well-paced, genuinely scary horror title that is worthy of your time. Unless you really can't handle being frightened, then it may kill you, and that's no good for anyone, especially you. Number 9, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga and Bowser's Minions. Yeah, that's right. I know originally this came out in 1805, but I don't care. The Mario & Luigi series of games have always been excellent, and Superstar Saga was the best one. To have a remaster of it on the 3DS filled my heart with glee and made me happy. Damn right it gets a mention here. It's not like it's aged much either. This is an RPG that not only has great mechanics, but also that weird sense of humour Nintendo seems to be able to drum up as it doesn't take itself seriously at all. Combat is also fantastic, and way back when was quite unique. It's just so much fun to play. It works on both levels. If you're like me and enjoyed it years ago, it's a great nostalgia trip, and new players will get a kick out of it too. It's almost like a gateway drug to more hardcore role-playing game, but even then there's serious depth here. Superstar Saga is a wonderful experience and still will be in 2030. That's how good it is, and I love it. Playing it right now. Not literally, but when I go to my 3DS. Number 8, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Right, this is an odd one because straight up, I wasn't the biggest Breath of the Wild fan. Being the asshole I am, I prefer the more expected Zelda template. You know the one, find a dungeon, find an item, find a boss, and then use all three together to succeed. It just works for me, and in my old age, I didn't want it changed. However, that doesn't mean I can't understand why Zelda's arrival on the Switch was met with such high praise, and that's because what it achieves is incredible. From the open world to the sheer hands-off nature that makes you work for everything you get, is a whole new approach by Nintendo that won nearly everyone over. This was brave too, given how much was riding on it. You'd have to think the success of Breath of the Wild was directly responsible for the console's success too, and it probably got people into the Zelda franchise for the first time who now will never leave. It's like Chris Jericho. It's been reinvented at the right time and now has a whole new lease on life. So yeah, it's not necessarily for me, but it's clearly a damn good video game. One of the best of the year. Number 7, the SNES Mini. Is this a game? No. But does it have dozens of awesome titles that deserve a mention? Hell yeah it does. And I don't even care if they're old releases. They were technically re-released in 2017 with the SNES Mini, and therefore for my money, they're in the debate. Aside from Star Fox 2, which was a game that had never seen the light of day, which is mad given when it was meant to come out, I can't help but have a huge smile on my face as I got to relive the likes of Super Mario Kart, F-Zero, Secret of Mana, Super Mario World, Super Metroid, and even more. They're all just so wonderful, and to be honest, probably brought me more joy in 2017 than anything else. It's a shame that Kirby is on there, because we all know Kirby is an asshole and a detriment to society as a whole, but even the ability to plug a tiny Super Nintendo into my HD TV is glorious. Especially as I'm old, and such things still give me a buzz. In short, I'm not going to do a best console list because that would be pointless, but I do love this, so it gets in. Simple as that. Moving on. Number 6, Super Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Odyssey is wonderful, much in the same way that all standalone Mario games are when Nintendo sits down and gets serious. I don't think they've ever gone wrong in that regard with the former plumber who now likes to show off his nipples, and I include Sunshine in that. I like that game. Odyssey arguably drags the series into the modern day as well, given how ambitious it is. Aside from how well worked everything with the Italians is, what a sentence that is, the open world created here is ridiculous. Massive. There's so much to do within it and such a varying degree in terms of environments that, as obvious as it sounds, it really is like dragging Mario kicking and screaming into 2017. It also proves how skilled as a developer Nintendo is. You can't just sit down and make a good open world just because that's the thing to do, and yet Nintendo pulled it off masterfully. Also, Mario games just make you feel good because that's what they're designed to do. So when that happens, how can you not walk away from it with a big smile on your face? You can't. Odyssey is great and will be another reason the Switch continues to find a home in 2018. Number 5, Splatoon 2. Ha! Yeah, right, stupid baby squid game. Number 4, SelfPark The Fractured But Whole. SelfPark games are so weird because in terms of the mechanics, they're average at best. They're not bad by any stretch, but the action RPG direction they take never really hits the highs others have. Combat is fine, exploration is fine, and the leveling up systems are fine. Everything is fine. However, when you then build all that around the South Park license, make the whole thing hilarious to the point you can't breathe, and throw all manner of good taste out the window, it all changes. It may sound daft to say that the game part of the game doesn't have to be great for the overall experience to succeed, but I think that's true. I play these nonsense toys to be entertained, and few other titles in 2017 entertain me as much as this. You have to fight against some questionable priests, for goodness sake. Due to this, The Fractured But Whole is going to hit as much as it misses. If you don't like South Park, you won't like this, but that's the equivalent of saying, if you don't like cheese, you won't like pizza. No shit, Sherlock. Point is, I love South Park, and this takes the essence of the show and gets it near perfect, meaning there's loads for me to get out of this, and I do. Morgan Freeman especially is a highlight, and he just makes me happy deep down in my gut. Number 3, Injustice 2. Mostly here because it annoys me that it doesn't get more praise. Injustice 2 is awesome. Not only is it an accessible fighting game that can also be learned thanks to having loads of depth, but NetherRealm Studios also took the DC license and made even better use of it than it did previously. If that isn't just a wonderful sequel all around, I don't know what is. Ultimately, you kind of already know what to expect if you've played the rebooted Mortal Kombat titles, but that style still works here. You can mash your way to victory should you so choose, but actually taking your time to get how it comes together will pay dividends, and there's just a ton of content here. And Captain Cold is in it, and Captain Cold sucks, but therefore it's good he's here. The story put in place for the always welcome single player is far more interesting than before as well, and darker, aping the tone DC has gone for recently. I don't mean that in a Batman vs Superman way, it just doesn't hold back and earns its 16 rating. An underrated game in 2017 for my money, Injustice 2 is a damn fine fighter that can also be enjoyed by comic book nerds as well. Works for me. Number 2, Doom on Nintendo Switch. Didn't see that coming, did you? Doom may have come out in 2016, but a late arrival in 2017 on the Nintendo Switch opens it up for criticism over the last 12 months, and I tell ya, it's still so damn good. Arguably the best FPS in years, Doom comes up with a few ideas, blends them together before ensuring they work so well that you can repeat them throughout its entire running time without being bored. It's almost rhythm action-like given the patterns you can fall into, and the metal vibe that holds everything together is just the icing on the cake. If you're gonna unleash proper riffing guitars on me as I shoot Hellspawn in the face, well, you're gonna do well in any Game of the Year list. It's just spectacular. It's strange too, because the multiplayer is average at best and I barely touch it, meaning a whole mode is basically non-existent in my world. Even with that, however, I think Doom is a masterpiece, and it's even better now as I can take it on the go whenever I want. I imagine a sequel is in the works, and to be honest, I hope it barely changes anything and gives me more of the same. If nothing else, doesn't take away my glory kills. Honestly, Doom is fucking excellent. Number 1, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. A choice that will have people rolling their eyes as I just pick games that have technically already been released, meaning I'm part of the problem. What can I say? I've played Mario Kart Deluxe more than any other game in 2017 and never got bored of it. And for that reason alone, it's my game of the year. I think it's so good, Nintendo should just make this a hub for all future entries and release extra tracks and characters through it, because as long as there's a drip feeding of content, I can see myself playing it forever. And no, it doesn't do anything out of the ordinary for Mario Kart, but in many ways, that's the point. This has always been my favourite racing title, and this is the best it's ever been. Throw in that you can now take it on the go because of the Switch, and pinch me, because I must be dreaming. It's insane fun too, be it back and forth races, murking someone with a red shell at the last second, or even just working on your lap times in time trials. There's few other games that make drifting around a corner or gaining momentum so damn joyful. By now, I think we can say that won't change anytime soon. The Mario Kart formula just works, and 8 Deluxe is a beautiful underlining of that. I flipping love it. All these videos are made possible thanks to patreon.com/SimonMiller316, so please do head over there and give what you can. Then like the video, share the video, leave a comment below saying, "Simon, you're wrong, you don't know what you're talking about." Subscribe, and then yeah, go throw this on social media, but most importantly, have yourself a lovely little day.